Hi folks, welcome back to my hoard. It's about 2:15, June 27th, Thursday, about 82, 83 degrees. It's hot and humid here in the Hudson Valley. Sun's out, my batteries are charged up. There you go, all nice and charged. So, what am I up to today? Well, spent a couple of days away, so I had to get the house, back to fire it up, turn the well back on and, washer, dryer, stove, all that trivia. So got all that going on. But while I was away, had to spend some time, friends and family, dealing with a couple of things, but I guess everybody's as good as they could be, so life goes on, eh? So anyway, what are we up to? While I was away, I had a little time to do an inventory, and I broke it into different things. Like this one is heavy frame tractors. Well, I added them all up, and I came to 15. See this number 15 right here. But the sad thing about that number 15 is I just found two more, so the number is actually 17. I have two more heavy frame Sears that are in between the Suburban line and the current junk they're making. They're like two-cylinder Briggs & Strattons on them. They have a high-low rear end, but the frame isn't quite as substantial as like these guys. Right? They're not as substantial as the Suburban. But they are standard transmission. They 46-inch decks, if I recall. They were nice enough tractors. The reason why I don't use them is they are horrible on fuel. Those two-cylinder Briggs, it was costing me like 5 gallons of gas to cut the lawn. With the Kubota, it takes me like a gallon and a half of diesel. So, at some point, you just got to look at how much money am I spending. So, anyway, to go through this list quickly. So heavy frame tractors, I got 15. It turns out there's actually 17. There's two that I haven't noticed, and to be honest with you, there might be another one or two floating around that I don't even know where I put them. So that's scary enough. Then I went through light frame tractors. There's the light frame tractors and the whole list, right? And I came up with 21 of those. I haven't noticed any others floating around, so let's call that a real 21. Then I went through golf carts. I went through the whole list of them. The 3 electrics on the bottom, the 2-stroke above that, and the 6 4-strokers. So anyway, there's 10 of them. And then Cushman's, right? We got the E-Z-GO GX7 under that pile of shit right there. And then the others. But anyway, so let's call Cushman's. We came up with 4. Then I did the math, and there's the totals: 21, 15, 10, and 4. That comes up with to be 50 units. 50 units. I don't care how long I live, and even if I never acquire another thing in my entire life, 50 tractors, way too many tractors. Something's got to go here, guys. So, with that, the first guy that I didn't put up an adoption list, but we're talking Ford. That's in the back of the house. We'll take a walk there in a moment. Montgomery Ward's, that's the hydrostatic that lives behind the F-150. Ace Hardware, that's behind the house. And the Craftsman, which is actually a newer unit. I got to pull the engine off of it. It's got a nice mower deck, nice seat, nice tires. I mean, it's like a 2007 unit. That one's going to get stripped out. So those guys are going to be up for adoption. By adoption, basically, if you want them, give me scrap value. I live in the Hudson Valley in New York, no delivery, and this stuff is going to start leaving on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. Something that's going to be a little more than scrap value, this case does not fit in with my crowd. I do not have, this is the only case I have, so I want to let it go. It's a 10 horsepower. It's got a standard. What's wrong with it? It starts. Well, I've used it a couple of years ago, so will it start? Yes. I might have to play with the carburetor, but it's capable of starting, running, moving through the belt. On the back, the belt's a little big, so when you step in the clutch, if you step in the clutch too much, it throws the belt. Then you got to open it up, take that guard off behind the motor, put it all back on. So you can see it. Obviously, the tires hold there. This case is up for adoption. What I would do with it is some kind of engine transplant and go back to using it. For transmission, just looking at the shift pattern there. I don't know, could you guys see this? It's got a creeper low in the back there, and then second, reverse, neutral, and then 3/4. In fourth, it trucks along pretty good, and low, assuming you could hook to the ground, assuming the tires grab the ground, you could you could pull a house. It does have bolt-on rims, 5-bolt rims. So this guy, if somebody showed up and gave me $100 for it, I would be thrilled. So let's call this case a $100 bill. I'm in the Hudson Valley of New York. Contact me yesterday. Send me a PM if you want it. First come, first serve. $100 bill. This is yours. As is, take it. Mazel tov. Good luck. Once again, burns oil like a banshee. I would throw another engine on it. So she's first. Somebody for this hydro, if somebody said $200, you could probably talk me out of that one too. Currently, it's not ready to go, but well, once again, if somebody flashed $200 at me, I probably couldn't resist letting it go. It's just a tractor, no deck. What else is up for adoption or scrap value? Let's call these two, the two I'm about to show you, are up for scrap value. I got this Ace Hardware here. I think before she got back here, she ran. It's a light frame, just ugly. And then the Ford, that Ford there, I mean, it's got headlights on it. It's a 2-cylinder. It's a standard transmission. It's got plenty of B's if you like B's. So these guys here, that one will come as is. I'm debating whether or not to take the hood off of it. Hey, Fearless Front, look at these two hoods, the Ace Hardware hood there and the Ford hood. If you want to look closer at the Ford hood, I can get it out of there. But these two guys, I'm going to pull the engine off the Ace Hardware, but the rest of it I'm going to leave there. So you'll get the deck. I'm going to keep the engine, but you'll get the transmission. It's a standard transmission. So if somebody wanted to put together a romping tractor, that's good. I have the front tires off of it, but the back tires are there, and I think it's jacked up and they're okay. The seat looks okay. This guy, basically, I think the only thing one might be able to salvage out of it is the transmission. Even the steering's pretty rusty. She's not worth much. The Ford is going to be the first one on the truck, more or less as you see it, going to the junkyard. The only thing I might steal off of it is the Ford emblem off the front and the headlights before it goes to scrap, unless somebody contacts me and says that they absolutely have to have the hood or something along those lines. I don't know, just to show you what it is, a YT16. It's got a Briggs 16 on it. The engine appears to be seized. Some of these others are really, they just have to go for parts. Another unit that I need to disappear, and this one's a bit more of a heavy frame. I don't know if heavy frame units are popular for off-roading. I would picture not, because when you crash it, first of all, they're hard to flip back onto the wheels, and secondly, when they land on you, it's got to hurt like hell. So I wouldn't picture the heavier units being all that popular for off-roading, but just in case, Back to you, Fearless Front. I don't know what you think of this hood. If you don't say yes, what I'm going to do is strip this one out. There you go. She's got a 2-cylinder Briggs in it. Got a heavier front end, though it's not cast iron. It's got a deck. What happened with this one? Electrical fire under the hood. I pulled the tires off to go on the mule. This guy here, I'm probably going to keep the engine, but it's got one of them slip and slide rear ends in it. You know, the disc that, you know, depending on where the drive ring runs along the driving ring. The driving wheel runs along the outside wheel. It depends how fast you're going. I don't really like that kind, so that's why I basically bought it back then for the motor. So she's up for adoption. This guy here, I have 3 electric golf carts. This guy here, the electric motor drives the rear end directly. And I've looked at this a couple of times, and it would really be very hard to turn this into a gasoline powered unit. To do it, I'd probably have to flip it around so that drive motor, so the whole rear end flipped over the other way, so that was in the back. Then I'd have to rig the motor up back here with some kind of torque converter, and what I'd do is I'd hollow out the motor there and basically use the motor, you know, a chain drive to the motor shaft, which drives the rear end, and then I'd have to rig up the rest of it. As you guys can probably hear from my voice, that would be difficult. The shame about this one, this electric golf cart, is before it got sitting here and somebody took the batteries out of it, I'm told it actually worked. It actually moved. You can actually drive it around. The frame is not that rusty. It's got a sister over here, so one of these two, this white one or this green one, is another candidate for getting scrapped. The green one here, the good thing about it from a drive point of view, the engine, instead of plugging directly into the rear end, kind of goes sideways, so it'd be an easier one to put a torque converter or a centrifugal clutch conversion to. But unfortunately with this one, the frame's pretty rotten, so either this guy or the white guy have to find their way gone. So if somebody contacts me once again before Tuesday and tells me, oh Dean, oh Harvey, oh John, I need a golf cart for this project I'm planning, contact me. We'll work out some kind of deal, and you all could come get it. Very reasonable. That runs, I'm keeping it. And last on the menu that really needs to go away, Rabbit. I don't know, could you guys see Rabbit? Bugs Bunny. Anyway, this Craftsman here, I got to pull the engine off of it. I already got the seat. I'm going to probably pull the engine, the deck. It's a shame because the front axle's bent from getting pushed off and the hydrostatic is blown up. You know, maybe I'm going to put the engine on this guy. I don't like hydrostatics, and I don't like slip and slide transmissions. My Kubota has a hydrostatic and I tolerate it because it does a really good job cutting grass. But I mean, I hope I don't get the guy who is always thumbs downing me all over my stuff because he's going to tell me hydrostatics are the best thing in the world. Personally, I don't like hydrostatics. I just don't. This guy is also going to be up for adoption. She's going to be on the truck. Plastic hood. This one will be on the truck also, probably for Tuesday. This guy and the Ford are probably the first 2 units on the truck. So as you're thinking about what you want, if you're thinking about this guy or you're thinking about the Ford, let me know yesterday, because they're going to get on first. This guy, hydrostatic, obviously it's got the deck, no front tires. I'm not sure the condition of the back tires. You can see the front of it. This is plastic, it looks like. Yeah, it looks like plastic front end, just like that's a plastic front end. I don't think I'm taking anything off of this. I think she's going to get on the truck just as she is. I might take a quick look at the motor to see what the carb and the starter look like. If I recall, the motor was complete. I'm not sure what was wrong with it, though the deck is pretty hammered. The steering, this has the really crappy steering here. So, could be the steering, could be the deck. I didn't put that much time into it. She was a freebie found on the side of the road. Almost killed myself loading it myself. Alright, so some stuff has to leave. Anybody wants anything, PM me quick, because some of this crap has to go. I want to get rid of 5 of something, 5 items, 5 of those things on the list pretty quickly. And if I get rid of 5, then I add the 2 sears that I just found. Means I'm not making much progress. For those of you who wonder how much is too much, if you count up 50 tractors, heavy and light frame units, Cushmans, and 50 light Cushmans, golf carts, and tractors, if you make it to 50, you have too many. It's time to have your own personal intervention and get rid of a few things. I also, somebody tried to get in here, by the way, because this was all the way down when I left it. Alright folks, I gotta live, I gotta love, I gotta run. I hope you all too. Live, love, and run. Don Juan, remember, handlebars down, tires up. We'll catch up with you all on the next episode of The Horde. Thanks for watching, subscribing, and commenting.